So glad to be back with you. Hope you've been having a fantastic week since the last time we were together. Welcome to Swami Live. This is your first time here. This is Swami Live, where we discuss healing or the evolution of ourselves to be our most authentic and best version of ourselves in various forms and formats, through general discussions, through live energy readings, through guest interviews, through homework, through learning new information, a bunch of different ways that we do our learning in here. We do this because we want to be able to make sure that we are part of an energy that is supportive of the evolution of ourselves, and an energy that we can tap into to help us progress along our evolution, our growth and our healing, all those things. And so that we can be in a communal energy, make sure that we are with people who are doing the same thing on the same path. You can catch us every Tuesday. Well, you can catch this show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then you can catch our spinoff of this show, which is Thursday Night Book Club. Every Thursday night this week, we are continuing with the book Changeling. You catch both shows 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday and Thursdays, on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, not TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. TikTok don't like us. We use the word healing too much, and ironically, it can be against one of their community standards, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. So, the beginning of every show, we generally do some energy work. We find one of our energy points or chakras to be able to focus on, and we do some things to support that. This week, we are on the root, the foundation. Your root energy point is good for your survival, your sense of survival, your sense of stability, your sense of security, your sense of safety, and your grounding. That is your connectors. That is you being calm, stable, and you're connected to the universe and those around you. If you are in the color therapy or light therapy, you want to spend some time in red. The color for the root is red. Hence the red lighting and a little bit of red on my shirt. Plus, I hadn't worn this shirt in a while, and I actually love this shirt, but it's so memorable. So anytime I wear it, it seems like I just wore it. So I could wear this shirt once a year. And it seems like I wear it once a week. So, but I love it. The color for your root is red. So if you're in the color therapy or light therapy, you want to do that. The element for your root is the earth. So you need some grounding, you need some stability, you need some sense of stability, some sense of security, you need some sense of safety, and you want to navigate survival a little bit different. Spend some time with the earth, whether that's walking barefoot on the grass or, like me, plant daddy, spend some time on my plants, right? Planting their dirt and touching their leaves or anything like that. So spend some time with the earth, go on a hike, hug a tree, whatever floats your boat, right? If you are into aromatherapy or essential oils, you want to think of, hey, Liberty, frankincense and myrrh, which I always laugh at, all because of half-baked, patchouli and black pepper, which reminds me, I need some more black pepper. I've been shaking it on everything. So I definitely have. Okay, good. It's working. I definitely have needed to do some root work. So definitely working on my energy around safety, survival, stability, and security. So makes sense why I've been a little heavy with the pepper, but I like pepper, man. You know what I mean? If you are into crystals and gemstones, you want to think red jasper, you want to think garnet, you want to think bloodstone, you want to think black obsidian. I want some black obsidian, surprisingly. Black tourmaline. I'm glad we are fast approaching mineral and gemstones show season. I'm sure the first one comes in next month. As a matter of fact, I probably need to look it up because I forget. This is the last week of February. My birthday was last Saturday. Woo, 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 woo. So March is generally the sign that gemstones and stuff like that start moving. So I need to look it up because I want to run into the guy so I can get another ring. Okay, fantastic. Hey Liberty, hey, listen, I love this shirt, Liberty. I do too, so I get it. Well, you heard me just say, it's just one of those shirts. I got a jacket like this too, not like this shirt, but under the same category that it's so memorable that anytime I wear it, it looks like I just wore it. But I ain't just wear this, man. Oh, I can't even tell you last time I wore this shirt, right? So that is your root. And the next thing we do is a little bit of sound therapy with the bowl. Then we do some breath work. And Liberty, since you out there, let me know what you what breath work do you want to do? You know that is okay, cool beans. You were quick on it too. All right. We'll do that next then. So now, during this time, you just got to relax and try to shift from the energy of the day into a calm, learning, collective healing energy and relax, right? So just, if you got some headphones, it's perfect for headphones, unless it gets too loud for you. It took me a minute to fully enjoy the bowl. Hey, Liberty. Oh, man, I forgot all about Soul Swami. Ask Soul Swami. I got another Ask Soul Swami question. It's from my boy. The one I fell out with, ain't talked to for a year, then we start talking again. That dude. Hopefully he is. He gave me permission. As a matter of fact, it was interesting because we had been talking about it for a minute, but he wound up typing it up and asking AI, so it just wound up being perfect for me as far as he already had it typed up. So he just sent me what he typed up and asked AI, and then what AI told him. And of course, we had discussions around that, but it allows us to be able to have a discussion that he's going on. That we can talk about, you know what I mean? Because it's all about healing, growth, and understanding. And it's even better if we can learn vicariously and we don't have to experience everything. All right, so the next thing we want to do is box breathing. If you are unfamiliar with box breathing, it is very simple. It is you breathe in for a 4 count. You hold your breath for a 4 count. And you breathe out for a 4 count. So I'm laughing because I see this video and I got the problem. I didn't send it to anybody because I ain't think anybody else would find it as funny as me. But I seen this video where the video is like, when you're trying to listen to something important, but you in a spinny chair. So somebody telling them all what's going on in their life and all the trouble, and Buddy's just spinning, stopping, playing. And I laugh because I always got that problem. You put me in a spinny chair, and if it lean back, I always want to play with the handle or anything like that. So I'm laughing at myself because I can't be still, but I'm in a spinny chair, so I get it. So it was funny. He was like, He was very, very much engaged in everything that they was saying. He just couldn't stop spinning in a spinning chair. That's why I hate him in job interviews, because I'm gonna want to. So let me tell you something. You're going to think I'm the one that's hiring, but I'm not. But again, I'm sorry. Let me stay focused. We got sidetracked. We are on box breathing. It is you breathe in for a 4 count, you hold for a 4 count, and you exhale for a 4 count. But during this time, all you have to do is just focus on your breathing and think about the things that connect to your roots and what you would like them to be, how you would like them to look for you in your life, where you are fulfilled and content. You want to think about survival. You want to think about stability. You want to think about security, safety, and grounding. And then you just listen to the sound of my voice as I guide you through. On the count of 3, we will start with box breathing. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 4, 2, 3, 4. Release 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 4, 2, 3, 4. Release 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 4, 2, 3, 4. Release 4, 2, 3, 4. Last time, family. Breathe in 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 4, 2, 3, 4. Release 4, 2, 3, 4. Next, I want you, while you're breathing comfortably and calmly, I want you to repeat these affirmations after me and incorporate them into your daily life, especially when you need to deal with your root, right? So first, I am safe and secure. I am grounded and centered. I am self-sufficient. I am financially secure. And I love being in my body. I am safe and secure. I am grounded and centered. I am self-sufficient. I am financially secure. And I love being in my body. All right, family. We can get this party started. I hope you enjoyed the guest we had last week. It was very interesting. You know what I mean? We didn't do energy reading. Most of the time when people join, we do energy readings. But this was one of the brothers from the Strength, Brotherhood, and Wisdom group that I'm a part of. So we just kind of had a discussion around, dang, I knew it was something I forgot. Maybe we'll do it next show. But we just had a discussion around questions that help us assess where we are in relation to the law of cause and effect. And it was very informative. He was vulnerable, I was vulnerable. We learned a lot. It was a great discussion. So, as we get started, I'm going to tell you something that I learned that was new, right? And it was funny because when I learned this word, well, I know the word, I just never knew it in this context. So when I learned this word, it was funny because I feel as though every 20 years, ooh, don't let me date myself, dinosaur, because I just celebrated a birthday. I'm a lovely 47 years old, right? And I don't mind saying that because when I went and got my physical, the nurse that was helping me was like, I don't believe you're 46. You don't look like it. I was like, yeah, I exfoliated, moisturized. So that's why I don't look 46. But if I take this hair off, I take this hat off, you see all that salt and pepper. She was like, no, even with the gray, you don't look your age. So I was like, good. I know if I died, I probably look 36. I say it's cool because now my age is finally catching up to my gray hair, so I don't feel that bad. So anyway, we learned this thing as we were a kid, which is this idea of fight or flight. So we learned about fight or flight when we were younger. And then I went to college and majored in biology. So when we're studying human behavior and the human body, I learned about another concept, which is fight, flight, or fright. That's what my teacher used to call it. But some people might say it freeze. In the sense that, in chaotic or dangerous situations or eventful situations, it motivates people to either fight, run, or some people in these situations in crises, the only thing they know to do is they get stuck in the emotions, so they freeze, right? So last night we've been talking about, well, not just last night, but over the last couple of weeks we've been talking about masculinity, specifically passive masculinity and healthy masculinity. And the new word that we learned is fawn. So it's fight, flight, fright or freeze, and fawn. So fawn, I never heard it in this context as it relates to fight or flight. What fawn is appease to survive, right? So when I first heard that, I was like, appease to survive? What is that? Like begging for your life when someone got the pew pew to your head, right? Which, yes, that is an example, but I know myself, I go to the extreme sometimes. So the extreme doesn't necessarily give you an everyday example. But what I wound up going back to get examples, like one is, I don't know if you guys are fans of Walking Dead, but I used to watch The Walking Dead. And in them first seasons, I don't know what season where it got to, but it got to the season where the dude who really didn't have any talents, or he thought he ain't have any talents, but he knew how to make bullets. And he would always just align himself with whoever's necessarily in charge or stuff like that, just so he could survive. He is a perfect example of somebody who appeases to survive, that was stuck in that appease to survive. Or as children, the things that we did to avoid whoopings, right? So the things that you did to avoid the whooping is necessarily appeased to survive, right? Or I just watched Life the other weekend, and when Claude was willing to give up his cornbread is a perfect example of appeased to survive. He was locked up in jail. A big dude asked him for his cornbread. And in an effort to not have to fight or challenge or risk his life against that big dude, he just gave him the cornbread, right? Now, the simple, to put all of that under one umbrella, that would be people pleasing. And I say it like that because when the brothers first said people pleasing, my initial response was, I ain't no people pleaser. But then when I pause and step back, one of the things I had to grow and evolve from is this idea of people pleasing, seeking the approval, not necessarily seeking the approval where I need somebody to come, like I'm going to you to do that, but hoping that someone will approve or give me some sort of positive reinforcement for the things that I've completed in my life. So now when we think about fight or flight, we got fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, which are all 4 different ways that people respond to chaotic or chaotic situations, right? I also want to. Ooh, do I want to do that now? Yeah, let's do it. I also want to give a little shout out to one of the Soul family. It's unfortunate that they had to lay to rest the patriarch of their family on today. So I want to make sure that we sending them good energy. We want to send them good vibes. We want to send them good prayers. We want to send all those things. If you ever had to deal with the loss of patriarch, matriarch, mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, you know how difficult that is. And it seems as though that this is the season for that. I said, I'm going to keep saying, winter is trying to go out like a lion and spring is coming in like a lamb. So we want to send them some love and shout out to the Soul family. Now, next, let me see. Do I got that up there? Doo-doo-doo. Hey, there it is. Hey. So next, we got a question. I'm excited. Girl, and I know you only got a little bit of heart to share, so I'm so thankful that you know what I mean, you understand. But next, we're going to move into Ask Soul Swami. I need to get some music right there, right? Other than my music that I make with my mouth is, I'm no Biz Marquee, so it's no make the music with your mouth, Biz. I'm not that talented. I can't beatbox. Yeah, no doubt. Hugs. Okay, what is it? Let me get to we on Soul Swami. Ask Soul Swami. So here is our situation, context of our situation for tonight. Not necessarily a question, but my interpretation of the dynamics that are going on in this situation. Right? So it's interesting. So the situation is a man who is a barber has been cutting his wife's hair since before the relationship was official, right? And now at this point, the wife wants to go to a different barber and a different barber shop because she feels neglected after saying she wanted her hair cut more than one time. Right, so she asked her barber husband a couple of times to cut her hair, and he hadn't responded to it yet. So she was feeling neglected, and in her feeling neglected, she decided that she wanted to go to a new barber, right? And for context clues, one of the issues, the husband barber, also knows, or his wife has communicated to him several times, that she also wants to grow her hair out. So now she wants her hair cut, but then she also says that she wants to grow her hair out, right? So one of the things, because of her wanting a haircut and wanting to grow her hair out, the barber husband was confused by the indecisiveness and waited on her to figure out what she wanted to do, right? Hey, Toddy, why is your name yellow? Liberty red? I'm red. Well, I'm green because I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the man. I don't know why yours is yellow. But I do like them diamonds. Diamonds by y'all. Diamonds are forever. I like them diamonds by y'all name, y'all VIPs. So now that's one context. So the next context is when the wife told the barber husband that she wanted to get a new hair, go to a new barber, it hurt the husband's feelings because he cuts hair, right? The husband communicated to her that his feelings were hurt by her planning to go to a new barber. And in that moment, when he communicated his feelings were hurt by her going to a new barber, the wife began to, that's when she told him that she felt neglected. And that's when she told him she felt neglected. So what he did, now remember, he started off communicating his feelings, and then she told him, well, I felt neglected. It's her feelings too. So what he did was apologize for her feeling neglected, right? Also, he explains to her that he understands that there is a difference between saying you're going to the barbershop and going to a new barber and actually doing it, right? But the barber husband also communicated when he was communicating that his feelings were hurt, that going to a new barber would also be a boundary for him. Not a barrier, but a boundary for him. And it would be somewhat of crossing the line for a multitude of different reasons, right? So that's the context of the situation that's going on, right? Husband cuts hair, normally cuts his wife hair. Wife was feeling neglected, so she decided that she was going to go to a new barber and all of that. And go to a new barber. That hurt the husband's feelings, so the husband communicated that to her and told her that it would be a boundary for him, so forth, so forth. All right, so that's the context, right? So one of the things that I find more interesting about this context is communicating, right? So I do think that the wife has a right to feel neglected, right? If I can only imagine that okay, thank you for saying that. My boy gonna like that. That would be a drastic step, right? So the issue that I have with her feeling neglected is she didn't communicate that, right? And when she decided to communicate it is when he was communicating his feelings, right? And there's always an issue like that. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of times in relationships and conversations, when we try to go to our partner and we bring up the issue we have, they also think that that's the time for them to bring up their issues. We have a lot of conflict in relationships where we were like, I don't like that you do X, Y, Z. And then our partner will say, well, you do X, Y, Z too, right? So one of the main issues that I see right here is the communication, right? So even though he communicated that it hurt his feelings and that would be a boundary, he didn't communicate his confusion about her wanting her haircut and then also wanting to grow her hair out, right? Next, I don't think she did. I don't think she communicated that she was feeling neglected. So he never had an opportunity to be able to even address her connected, right? I also think that it was an interesting motivation for her to, I agree with you, Liberty, is a drastic step, right? A little more context. They knew in the community. He's trying to cut hair and build up clientele. So it would be beneficial for him to have walking billboards, people who get their hair cut, you know what I mean? And of course he talked to her about that aspect too, you know what I mean? Like what happens when somebody asks you, where'd you get your hair cut? You gonna tell them Craig, this name I just made up, did it? You know what I mean? Which is another issue, right? So I also think that the contradictory signals are an issue, right? As a husband or as a wife, if your mate is telling you they want they want to do left, and then they also want to do right, it is hard for you to be able to respond to their needs and wants because they aren't necessarily clear in that aspect, right? Something that I thought would be a good idea, and I always profess this to everybody. I think one of the more interesting decisions that we make when we get into relationships is we anticipate or we expect our mate to be everything, right? So, as a matter of fact, you hear this in this terms like friendship is the foundation of a relationship. I want my mate to be my best friend, my lover, my homie lover friend, right? And I always find it interesting because a person can only be one thing. I can only be one thing at a time. So how can I be all these people, right? So I think one of the things is the conflicting roles, right? So he's her barber, her husband, and all these other things, right? So one of the things that I thought that I think would be good for this situation is to separate roles and expectations, right? So if she didn't have her husband being her barber too, then they never have that issue. Whether he cuts hair or not makes no difference, right? It's just the roles, right? I always say I just need my woman to be my woman. I don't need her to be my best friend. I got a best friend. I don't need her to be my mama. I got a mama. I don't need her to be my boss. I got a boss. I don't need these things. I just need her to be my woman, and we can sit down and define what that means, right? And even though some of these relationships have overlap, they are not the same things. So I will talk to my wife about some of the exact same things that I would talk to my best friend about, right? But that doesn't mean she's my best friend. That means she's my wife and I feel safe with communicating these things to her. I got a best friend. And there are things that I communicate with my best friend that I don't communicate with my wife, right? Because that's not her thing. So, for example, when me and my best friend is talking about her day at work or the trouble she had at work, I don't even feel the need to communicate that to my wife because that's a conversation between me and my best friend. I think there is this idea of conflicting roles because the roles are overlapped with expectations and none of those are very clear. I also do think it was good that the husband was able to identify a boundary. You know what I mean? Because that would be tough. If you think you are the barber for your wife and she decides one day she wants to go to some other barber. You know what I mean? And I would say the gender doesn't necessarily matter. You know what I mean? But in the context of this, she go to another male barber. The ultimate thing that I had an issue with is using that haircut as a weapon. Although she might have felt neglected, she didn't communicate that. And her telling her barber husband that she was going to go to another barber was to hurt him. Now, she may not have been conscious of that was her motivation, you know what I mean? But a lot of people, when we are hurt, we don't feel better until we hurt the person, or if we don't see that they're hurting in a way that we think, right? I remember I dated this girl one time, and she was so much like that. I remember I accidentally stepped on her foot, right, passing by. She ain't feel better until I stopped and let her step on my foot too. You know what I mean? And if you were to ask her if she was that type of person, she'd be like, no, I'm not that type of person. But the identity that she had in her mind and the behaviors that she exhibited weren't always in alignment. They aren't the same thing. You know what I mean? So I do think an issue resides in using the love that you have or something. Cutting hair is a bonding moment. It can be dangerous to use those things that's bonding and special for both of y'all as a weapon to hurt someone else, right? You know what I mean? I do think that there is a space for them to start identifying where they can separate roles. I think all those multiple roles and multiple expectations leave space for confusion. You know what I mean? It's like a job description. One of the reasons I went to this thing where they say, you know, job descriptions, they'll give you all these things that you got to do on your job. And then at the end, they'll say, and other duties as described. You can't really do that. Because if you can't describe the duties, then you can't necessarily give them to me. So you got to be able to describe what to do. So I think it's a clear way for them to be able to separate some boundaries. Hey, Chastity. I think it's a clear way to separate create some boundaries. And then the last thing that I want to say, that I do think a space that we want to make sure that we're doing for our mates. Like if our mate comes to us and they're telling us an issue, one, we want to make space for them to have that issue, and we don't want to take control of the situation and then make it about us, right? By doing things like, by saying like, well, you do it too, right? We need to be able to validate our mates' feelings. Even if we have some of the same feelings, right? We have to find time for us to be able to communicate those feelings, even if they are the exact same, and not take control of their moment, right? So it's always a benefit in any type of relationship, whether it's your mate, whether it's your business partner, whether it's your friend, whether it doesn't matter what. Validate people's feelings. You know what I mean? Whether you agree with them or not, that's not what validation means. Validation means you hear and you understand and you respect, right? So you don't have to agree. Nowhere does validation require agreement, right? It just requires understanding. So I definitely think that's a space to be able to do that. Think about boundaries. Think about validation of each other's feelings, and do not use your love as a weapon. For real, for real. Okay, so the next thing we're going to get into the show. Boop, 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 boop. Last week, before we had our guest, we wound up having a discussion on the law of cause and effect.